Hi, everybody. This is Joanna. Thank you so much for tuning in. And today we're going to do a sound activation and some field co-creation. So thank you so much, Spirit, for being with us, and all of the councils of light and the galactic federations and all of the beings, ascended masters, and all of the many, many beings for the Christ consciousness that we work with, and all of you work with, and your teams and your guides, and all of the beings that are helping you heal your bodies and your fields. And we thought we'd co-create a ceremony. And this is just giving you an idea. This is just an example of the work and the path work. I wrote, one of my books is called Ascension Path Work, because I was having so many questions from my clients when we were doing private sessions on the process that I had taken through the many healings and the many years of ascension. And I did a path work book to explain different processes to allow yourself to begin living in different reality experiences, because what we experience is the vibration of who we are. And if we always do what we've always done, then there's never a change in that reality. And so a lot of the work that I've been connected with just from many of the groups and the timelines that I remember is very sacred, ceremonious, very pure in the service of spirit. And now that we're allowing ourselves through the awakening and the enlightenment process, the self-actualized process is the actualizing of all that we are as the beingness of spirit, creating matter throughout our journey with source. And how can we create in a way that's really ceremonious and honoring of who we are? And to create those morning ceremonies so that you're honoring and being sacred within who you are, knowing that the vortex of you is that abundant, infinite, ever renewing experience of you with your soul. And that abundance of who you are, that vortex of who you are, creates your reality. And so how do we not only understand who we are, all that we exist within and what exists within us, but there's been those three major frequencies that we've been talking about for many, many years, and is on all of our books and all of our radio shows and all of our podcasts. Who are we? What do we exist within? What exists within us? Which is the micro-macro experience. How can we explore, express, and experience ourselves through those processes? The ceremony of who you are at every moment with that loving song that is source. To allow ourselves to surrender to that beautiful song that is source. Releasing expectation, releasing social conditioning, releasing social patterns, releasing social traditions, however it may be that you are ready for, to express into a new version of you at fifth dimensional frequency. The fifth dimensional sovereign experience, the Christic sovereignty, which is what a lot of my offerings have been through the divine relationship of who we are in that all experience micro macro, is the complete sovereignty of who we are as independent beings of that Metatronic Christic experience through the complete exploration and expression through freedom and liberation in the benevolent play in that journey with source, not having held back and restrictions and confinements from any source. And that's our perspective. We can think that we are obligated and tied down based on where we've come from, based on what others want for us and need for us, or social conditioning, or the patterns, or the routines that we've come from, but they're illusory. As soon as you walk away from them, you see, wow, I really can create my own reality, and this is how I choose to create it. But it starts with a perspective within. You're held back by nothing and no one. You are in divine dominionship of you, the vortex of you. And the reality experience will be based on continuing your inner seeking, that creating that sense of self, that whole self. Because normally when we come from many of these imbalanced dysfunctions, that's the healing process, because we're peeling away those layers and we're peeling away those experiences that are not us. They were just versions of clothing that don't fit anymore. That's the matter that we have placed on ourselves to say, well, that's my role, that's what I've always been defined as, that's what generations have done before me, and therefore I'm subjugated to this experience. No, it's an illusion. Take it off and step into something new. So that's just based on how steeped we are in those beliefs, how steeped we are in thinking that we have to make others happy to be fully in our own self, to know that all of those outside minutiae are the gifts and the blessings that source offers you to rewrite your sense of self. And as Master Jesus had said to me is, from the ashes, we get to rebuild. We get that divine sovereign free choice. We can choose to leave whatever it is that we choose to leave behind that stifles our expression of who we are, source. And it comes because we're each healing subjugation, the minor and major subtle level ways. We're each healing it at a different level and a different pace and a different temperament, right? Those of us that are really seriously excited to express who we are, that ceremony of who we are, I'm really excited just to break through and just create. And therefore, a lot of those things that I thought I had to heal and work through is just a matter of saying, I want to just get busy creating. I don't have to take those on. They're not mine anymore. But you do get stuck in those minutiae sometimes. Well, is that mine? Is that mine? Am I supposed to do that? Am I making the best choice? And that's why, again, that daily self-care and that daily reflection of who you are with source, your vortex, many of those systems, they they demean and they take from our own unique sense of self, especially with very structured and restrictive dogma and experiences where you're trained and entrained into certain specific processes that delineate and separate yourself from your own sense of self. Nothing can define your sense of self but you in spirit. The work, the honor, the celebration, the ceremony, all that you are within spirit, that's it. That sense of self, your pillar of light, your truth, your standing in your power, that is how you move about life and not being swayed and thwarted and deviated from your path. And many of those systems allow us to, waver back and forth until we find that sense of self. Well, whose illusion is this? And it's okay that others take those illusions on because that's part of their role to work through that for their sense of self. But you are your sovereign being of light. You standing in your sense of self, creating your sense of self every day, every moment, because every moment you're calling in something new, you're transmuting it, you're moving with it, you're playing with it. Then you get to decide, is this part of me or can I let this go? So it's a constant alchemy, in which our video yesterday said, every moment we're in alchemy. Every moment we're in a transition and a song with source. We get to choose how that feels for us. And to do that, that takes presence and practice. My teams are constantly saying presence, presence. That's all you need to know is presence. Source will bring you what you need. You feel from here how to choose presence. And that in and of itself is ceremony, because you're giving yourself ceremony and celebration. I have found my sense of self. And peace and serenity and joy and direction and self-purpose and navigating in your own unique way that's unique to you. Your gifts are unique to you. And in that presence, in that ceremony of you, you're calling all of you forward, that renewal of all that you are as source, this beautiful essence of source. You are self-directed in who you are with source. Your light, your temple, your ceremony, your fields, you and source. And that is the healing that is required for everything that we've come from. Subjugation in every way, from every aspect of our socioeconomic systems. We're taught how to feel, how to think. We're taught how to emote, how not to emote. We're taught everything. Sovereignty is being you and source, being you in the fluid movement of source. My sense of self is source. I am spirit. I'm creating matter as I go. From my excitement, from my joys, from that Christic child experience of being excited to explore who I am as spirit. I understand energy. I understand I'm more spirit than anything else. I get to choose. I want to be soft and loving and beautiful and powerful in that. I get to be that sense of self for me. And I'm calling in those that vibrate in those arenas that also have their sense of self, because that's the energy that is attracted. And you're placing it out to show others how they go about achieving and seeking and exploring and experiencing and expressing their sense of self. And it's all different and unique. And the transition that so many, especially masters and so many that are stepping into a new arena, is that, the guides and the teams are telling me is, to be patient while others are seeking into their more expansive aspects of self, because it can be quite daunting when they've never gone within and they've used their seeking of who they are, their importance of who they are, in outside factors and fashions of who they are, which cannot be found in anything but going within. A school will not tell you who you are. A dogma cannot tell you who you are. Society cannot tell you who you are. Your spouse cannot tell you who you are. Nobody, no thing, nothing, no thing. Sovereignty is knowing that you define, you create, you navigate. You are the serenity of you. You are the peace of you. You are the self-direction of you. You get to create this whole vortex that you are, through your heart pulsations, through the soul and your creative expression. You create the vortex of all that you are as source. That beautiful, um, honeycomb, the beautiful beehive of all that you are, constantly harmonizing and alchemizing, harmonizing and alchemizing. And we're constantly going through what was, let it go, who am I now, what do I want to experience? It's that infinity alchemizing. And each moment you get to say, I'm creating my new sense of self today. And it's going to be different than yesterday. I'm okay with that. And allow others their patience in working through how you're changing and how dramatic you want to change. And there will be those that will slip away and move away. And there'll be those that will come in and take that place. And that's meant to happen. It's meant to occur. Evolution cannot be evolution unless we're in the same with the same, we must change. It must be changed. Evolution, your soul wants it, and so does their soul. However, those that are having challenges through change and do not have a good sense of self within who they are, they're going to want you to stay the same. And those are those experiences that you have to be okay with just letting go and letting slip away. Because again, as we said in our post the other day, it's not for anyone to place hindrance or control or energy pressing against anyone else's path to have an outcome that will suit their own will. That's not honoring free will, and that will come back in a karmic energy to you. Sovereign free will, the right use of free will, is the allowance. Allow all souls what they require in their path, and your sense of self comes with being directed, self-directed with source, through you and source. Having those excitements, having those joys, having those excitements, having those joys, and then you get to choose. You get to choose really excitedly. Well, this is where I'm really excited to go. My soul wants me to press out and explore and experience this because it's important to my soul. I'm not holding myself back for anyone and no thing. And there will be others that will have to move within that minutia of change, because that allows them their unique divine timing to open up and explore their sense of self. And that's the thing, that there will be many that feel responsible, for the paths of others that need that great going within and finding their own sense of self. Right. And so that's when you really have those moments. Okay, well, I'm going to be self-directed. I'm not going to feel the obligation and the downplaying of anybody based on what it was, that must change. It must be more sovereign and allowing everyone their unique soul's path. Staying in systems only creates that sameness. And then they'll create and call in those that want to create in that same vibration as well. That's why it's really, really, really important to understand energy, to understand the vibrations that you're putting out and how you feel you at any level want to force an outcome upon yourself or any others. And that's really taking a step back, getting to know yourself and going within and saying, okay, spirit, what part of me is absolutely wanting this forced outcome and why? And how is it affecting others? And that's beginning to learn about who you are as a sense of self. Just trust in the universe. Trust that everything will be brought as you need it. There's no forcing, just send out the exciting energies and the vibrations and it's going to come back to you. And that's why we wanted to bring that reminder of right use of will, because as we're opening up to greater energy, we're opening up to greater manifestation, it's really important that we honor everyone's soul path and everyone's respect for who they are and the direction that their soul is being guided to take. That's how you know that you're honoring energy, you're honoring your vortex and what's coming back to you, right? So if there's any, restrictions and any, there's any play in, wanting someone to do what you want them to do. And those are the minutiae that go back and forth because there's programs that we're coming from. But that's when you know when and how much to give and when and how much, when to walk away, when it's not that healthy. If there's energies pulling on you to be stuck in a system that doesn't fit for you, that becomes unhealthy and you're compromising your light. You're compromising your sense of self because there's those in the experience that are not respecting your free will to move and explore and experience yourself in your unique way. And everybody will have a different phase and stage and temperament through which they move through these experiences of sovereignty. And it will be in every system, make no mistake about it. It will be in systems of government. It will be in systems of partnerships. It will be in systems of family. It will be in systems of schooling. It will be everything. Everything will be infused with light. That light is the owning of sovereignty of who we are as spirit in matter form. Who are we as spirit? What does that mean for each and every one of us? And that's the path. That's the soul's journey. And so to create ceremony about your sense of self, and it's really, really important. And we've just completed it. We'll have it up on our Facebook tomorrow morning. We're going to have it on our Facebook page, the weekly Soul's Growth template. And this Soul's Growth template is a weekly journal that you can create with you in source. You're creating your sense of self, how to have certainty and confidence and clarity in who you are, directing yourself as spirit, honoring yourself as spirit, and feeling all of the guides and all of the infinite beings that you walk with, and the groups that are helping you, and all of the beings that are helping you co-create your soul's destiny, because you know that you come here with a promise for your destiny to grow and expand as best and as greatly as you can. In all of these experiences, you can create that beautiful soul's growth template in all of the multidimensional facets of who you are. And that is your experience to physically, mentally, emotionally, and etherically, energetically, spiritually come into union and create that sense of self and be ceremonious about it. And have celebration. Celebration to honor and respect your fields and your vortex, your temple. Honor and respect your communion with spirit and your soul. I'm honoring all that I am as spirit. Therefore, I honor all others. Those that are stepping and moving and pressing against your boundaries, then it's a good reflection for them to go in and truly understand their boundaries and their sense of self. And that's what the evolution and the growth of each and every one of us helps reflect to others. You get to have your own boundaries and your own standards for what you want to entangle with, celebrating who you are, celebrating your sense of self. Yeah, I'm building myself brand new again, because where I've been pulled on, and I've been pressed on, and I've been taken from, and I've been demeaned and berated. And that's just not a path I want to go for anymore. This is who I am. This is who I choose to become and be as moment for moment in source, with source, as one with source. And I'm celebrating my sense of self, celebrating me. And I get to call those energies in. And I'm taking all that was as very grand and appreciative for all the lessons I've learned to really stand in my power, because everything has allowed you to know and reflect upon what you're really here to do and have that power to do so. And we can't have that power to do so unless we've come through those minutiae to say, holy cow, no, nobody's needs are more important than mine as far as who I'm co-creating myself to be. Because I know when I'm standing strong, so too will all others get that vibration as well, to go and do their own work, to create their own boundaries, to create their own sense of light, to create their own sense of self-love and their own sense of peace with source. Because we can't create love to others, peace to others, serenity to others, unless we have it within ourselves. Are we peaceful and ceremonious within ourselves? That's when you know that you are beginning and you're starting to create that sense of self. Yeah, today I'm intending on serenity within me. I don't need it outside of me. No school, no nothing can get it outside of me. I create my sense of direction, my vocation, my creativity, my partnerships, my soul tribe. All of that comes from within. I am self-directed. I am one with source. That is all I need. And you illuminating that and being that in ceremony, wow. I mean, how powerful is that? How often do we see that in our society, right? And those are the new leaders. So what they gave me this morning was the ceremony that is a loving leader. And that is what we are creating and co-creating for the 5-dimensional earth. Are the leaders that are out there right now, are they portraying and projecting, a serene and an authentic and a genuine sense of self? Is it coming from within, or is it coming from a doctrine that was written for them on what to say and how to say it, for who to please? So this is where we really have to go within and discern from that sense of, from that presence. Does this feel good for me? As we offered last week, that anything that you're entangling with, you can choose to feel into the vibration of it, and then you can choose to entangle with it or not. You have that free will. You have that sense of self. This does not feel right for me, and I choose not to invest in it. You get to have that right to say, I am a sovereign being and I get to choose how I move about life and be excited to be me. And I get to choose, even if I'm turning something on, does that feel good for me? And discern in presence, does that feel good for my sense of self that I'm co-creating? And we offered on our Facebook post last week, because we've been talking about getting to know your cycles of ascension. So whether you're in that awakening, your ingathering, your integration period, your releasing, whatever phase that you are in, to create those, again, this is also about creating that sense of self, your strong sense of self as you as a sovereign leader, a loving leader, that you will help others be their own leader. And that's what all leaders and masters do, is they help and honor by illuminating through thyself the leadership and the skills that all others have. We all innately have this. Is that whatever cycle that you are in, create that, as we said, that soul growth template. If you're going to have a week of ingathering and calling in new information, is exploring different videos that awaken different cellular memories or different DNA, or maybe getting out new books from the library, taking a class online, whatever it might be for that ingathering cycle. Create that loving ceremony around that. And why we say that is because there's so much transition, and we don't say this as a means of separation at all. What we mean this as, and they're wanting me to assure that this is coming forward as a sacred vibration. Thank you, divine mothers and sisters. I'm honoring this in the sacredness of all that we are, because we have allowed ourselves to be taken out of the sacredness and the ceremony that we are able to create in ourselves with soul, in ourselves with spirit, as spirit. And it doesn't have to become what they're going back to now. And we might thread back and forth because there's energies and codes coming in. The Essene lifetime that I lived in, it was very steeped in tradition and processes, far more dense in process and very to the structure than some of the major religions that we have on our planet. Far more steeped in processes, even though it was a very enlightened community, but they were still stagnant in their potentiality because they were so steeped in processes that it did not allow for creative flow. So this is why they're threading it back to me, and why we can see, as we create our sense of self, we awaken within all that we are. We're harmonizing and being alchemizing of all that we are. We're calling in those ascended aspects. We're calling in those ones that had short lifetimes and lessons to learn. We're healing the karmic aspect. We're healing the Akasha and the lineage. It's a constant alchemy. We get to choose from all that we have been and say, I remember that Essene lifetime. And if it was very enlightened, but you know what? I want more creativity now. I get to take the best of all that I've been, and I get to alchemize something new, and I get to create ceremony about it. That's that wholeness and oneness and that sense of self that you are with Source. You're constantly renewing all that you are with Source. You're a soul of infinite potentiality. And so they wanted to say that. So again, creating that practice of ceremony in whatever process that you are in allows you to create that sacred oneness and your continuation of renewal of self, your sacredness of self, your ceremony of self with Source. And your soul will come forward each time and offer something new in that renewal. How can I honor and renew myself today? How can I honor and be in ceremony of myself, creating this new ingathering? And so those are just morning invocations where I'm going to create a song for sacred ceremony to ingather information. And today I'm going to use just my intuitive senses. So anything that's in my field, anything that's in my DNA, anything that I've read in any lifetime will come to me through that intuitive knowing. And play games and play that expansive pressing out with your teams in this way and creation in this way, because that's how we're meant to keep pressing out beyond. Feeling into the codes that are already in our field, feeling into the codes of what we're able to co-create and manifest, and create ceremony around it. And it's no different if you're going through a healing process. The healing process is about really owning and nurturing that sacred time of release and healing. So that means that creating sacred ceremony time to know that it's okay to hunker down and just be with you and self-soothe and self-love, creating the salt baths, creating quiet time in your release processes, be with Gaia in your release processes, create those ceremonies of self-love and self-soothing. It would not be a good idea to go out and party and be around a whole whack of people as you're going through a release, which can last 2 to 3 days, because your body is so vulnerable and you're so open because you've just done a whole bunch of releasing. Your body really needs you to be the protector and the guide, so that you're honoring all that you are, a sacred space. And you're gonna allow yourself in the time to then call in those energies that you so desire, and then give yourself a couple of days to start integrating the new behaviors, the new thought patterns, the new behaviors of intention, and sacred soul template exploration, the frequencies that really make you feel good and happy. Otherwise, it goes back to those old cycles. So it's really important that you create these new entrainments, higher vibrational entrainments, that the Arcturians gave me many years ago to help create, press out vibrationally from what you've just left behind and transmuted. That's how we're continually ever pressing out, and each person will be different and unique. These are just what I've been working on in the many years that I've been working through ascension and the channeling of these different energies and healing abuse and healing dysfunction, and coming from understanding the psyche and how that psyche is a program of patterns and energies that each and every one of us have come to transcend. So allow yourself sacred ceremony to entrain your new sense of self. So basically that's what we're saying, is what can you do to entrain a new sense of self in every new moment as you alchemize, releasing what was and stepping into something new. And those that have gone through many years of abuse and dysfunction, they will have greater standards for their time, you know, and really create that self-love time and that self-soothing time and that self-direction time, so that you can create that for yourself and let no thing and no one call you back into cycles that don't feel good for you, and you have the sovereign free right to do so, and honoring yourself in that space. And because that's how we set those examples for the children that are aching to see that, you know, they've come with those codes already awake, like, I'm sovereign, I already know that, and it frustrates them to be in systems of such, you know, limitation. So you get to choose what and who comes in your space by the vibration you're setting and calling in. But to do that, who are we and what's our sense of self? This is why we're constantly alchemizing. That was then, but this is my new sense of self now, and this is what I'm focusing my energy on. Your focus, your intention, your attention is where you're creating. And it's really, 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 really exciting that you can create ceremony and who you are, what your vortex is going to feel like, what your vortex is going to call in for you, what your vortex is going to activate for you. And again, whatever stage and phase that you are at in your ascension cycle, create a beautiful ceremony in whatever phase you're at, so that you're entraining that new potentiality for you to continue in. Because again, your soul will just offer you through any potentiality your ability to test yourself, so that you absolutely know this is the new me now. Vibrationally, this is the new me. And you'll find yourself, you know, in those experiences where you're being challenged, because your soul wants you to know that this is my new vibration. There is no going back, you know, and your soul will want those experiences so that you know within yourself, I'm building mastery. There is no more deviation from this oneness with source, my sense of self. That's where you'll meet other people with great sense of self, right? This is my sense of self. I'm still working on it, but I feel good right now. And this is what my focus is my peace, my serenity with source. I get to be in this fluid movement with source, and I get to alchemize, and but you know absolutely that those old patterns and the destructive energies and the destructive, relationships and the dysfunction is no longer a part of the new now entrainment. And that's a standard. You're setting that standard, you're setting that boundary. And your body and your senses and your fields will all sense when that approaches, so that you can know and stand in yourself and say, no, thank you. You know, that's building your sense of self. That's building a strong sense of boundaries. That's building a strong sense of knowing how energy works, and there is no forcing. There is no spell casting needed. You're just in fluid movement with source. You get to choose in who you are. You attract and you call in quite naturally, quite fluidly, and you're always in honor of the right use of will. Because if you're honoring the right use of will for you, you absolutely know that it's just going to filter out and be one with anybody that you co-create with and contact with. But you're building those sense of standards and set guidelines for your time, if you will, because it will call greater and greater time to ensure that you're maintaining your sense of self with source, which means that, am I creating greater meditation time and peace time with me? Is my environment quiet and nurturing? Is my environment inspiring for me? You know, am I calling in people that inspire me and will empower me for me to reach my highest? So you'll go through all of those alchemy minutiae in your sacred ceremony time, because you know that that's what's required to continue the nourishment of your sense of self. And it requires greater time and devotion to do that. That's what creates mastery, right? It's not just that one time entrainment and then it's done. It's mastery. You know, you're constantly pressing out, trying new things and trying new vibrations, because we're at this beautiful smorgasbord of vibrations. And we're testing and we're moving out and stretching and co-creating with that vibrational oneness with source. And it will require that we're devoting ourselves in sacredness of who we are. I am a sacred temple. My body is sacred. My body can feel when things feel uncomfortable. And I want to ensure that it's being alchemized so that I'm going to continue to call in those things that do feel comfortable for me. Because I honor me, I'm worthy of it. And so just going to give you an example of just vibrational. This is again, Reiki, vibrational omnipresent fields, micro, macro. When you're creating that sense of self and how we can create ceremony about its presence, you're honoring first of who you are. And the soul living through you, your higher self coming forward and being you. You're living as the higher self, your oneness with source, divine male, divine mother, all harmonizing into one and being that sacred child of co-creative expression and excitement and enjoyment of who you are. Really get excited and celebrate who you are becoming. And in this, this is what would come after you've done your morning meditation and your connection with your guides and any releases that are being done. And this is just the ceremony of who you are. So again, you're creating energies and vibrations of who you want to co-create with as a vibration. Remember, again, let go of anything to do with, those that, if you want a lover, put the vibration of the lover in the field, and all those things that you could see and feel yourself doing and experiencing, co-creating together. It will come to you, and that person will come to you in that vibrational play. Release the who's and the names and the stories, because then you're again in play with the right use of free will. If something is meant to be, it will be with whatever person that you perhaps may have an interest in. But to continually placate with energies on any specific person, you're then desiring to force outcomes that are perhaps not meant to be. And again, we can't play with the role of, spirit in that way. Source, the creator, everybody's soul's plan is meant to be on their unique path. And their unique path is meant to be left in allowance and sovereignty and in respect and honor. So that we understand that the pressing of energy on anyone can be felt. It really can. And this is why we posted that experience, because there was several energies that came to me that week through spell casting and really understanding the right use of will. How do we, each of us, honor the right use of will and honor and understand that we are infinite beings threaded with our collective, and our vibration and how we move about our collective really matters. And so it's about being in the full driver's seat of us, of our own vessel, and creating that flow with spirit. And always ask your teams and your guides, if you're wanting that validation, ask your teams and guides, is this in the right use of will if I pray in this way, or if I have this intention? And your teams will tell you, just let it go, let it be. Or your teams will say, perhaps, feel into it this way, so that you can practice how energy feels. Those that are empaths and those that are crystals can feel the energies pulling and pressing on us, and why we call in those extra help, and why we create the vibrational, shields and things like that. Because as being those sensitives and energies, it's important that we're allowing ourselves to know that we have the right to feel free and liberated in who we are, without feeling those cords and those energies pressing on us. And so it's really important to know the vibration of the right use of will and how it feels, because there is a feeling to it. When you want something to happen and occur just because it's what you want, that that's crossing the line of right use of will. And that's when you go within and say, let's deal with this control issue that I've got going on here. Let's deal with this issue about, safety, not having a job, be taken from you, kind of thing. So all of those energies are control. So if you're sitting there, I pray that my job doesn't get taken. I pray that you're allowing a whole lot of energetic resistance and play into creating so much resistance and vibrational backlog that you're not even opening up to something that could be 10 times better. So this is what's really key to understand about the right use of will, and how to work with energy and just relax, let go, and just allow to be what will be. You will, again, you'll always have a meal, and you'll always be taken care of when you're aligned within your true center. And if you have fears and worries about not being taken care of and not having a free meal, then that's what needs to be healed. So again, it's all for the right use, for us to become all that we are as source. There's nothing to worry about. There's nothing to fear. You're learning the minutia of energy. And it's always within your pure heart to say, what is my benevolency of working in this energy? If your intention is to be benevolent, the highest and the greatest good for the highest outcome for all, highest outcome for all, that will ensure that all of the guides and all of the teams are working to ensure that the highest and best. You're opening your heart for the greatest flow of energy for all. That's all that's needed. That's all that's needed. And if there is an experience, whether it's a job, a house, or whatever it is that you're moving through that's causing that angst, where you are seeking the outcome to work out a certain way, then that's what needs to be healed. And that's where I feel like a lot of people that have been in energy, or those that are working with spells, can then communicate and educate others on how to understand the universal omnipresence experience of energy, and how to be in the flow and the right use of will to benefit the greater good of all. And truly stepping into that mastery and that alchemy. And it's not up for us to force any outcome in anything because there's learning in it. There's learning in the loss. There's learning in the letting go. There's learning in the having a beautiful miracle unfold, because that source wants you to create those miracles and experience the miracles, not by hanging on to what was. When you hang on to what was, you're shutting off the vibrational flow of the infinite that is available for you in the vortex that you've created. All those dreams and all those wishes you've created. And it will come to you in the best way that is absolutely meant for you, not for how your ego wants to see it or how your ego wants to manipulate it. Because again, then you could go back and then, okay, well, how can I live within my new sense of self as spirit? Because the ego will try and control it in every way until you entrain the ego to surrender to spirit every time. I'm going to surrender to spirit. Whatever will be, will be. I know it will be taken care of. I understand source will bring me what is needed. And again, spiritual growth is not mental repetition. That's not spiritual growth. Spiritual growth is your sense of self with spirit. And that's soulful, that's spirit. Again, creating those understandings of why we're going through what we're going through, and create ceremony around it. I'm going to create ceremony in this moment of who I am. And it's going to be great and beautiful because I'm connecting with my true self. I understand I'm so vast. I'm so wide. I'm so infinite. I'm so eternal. I'm one with spirit. I'm calling in Gaia. I'm calling in the angels. I'm calling in all that is spirit, divine mother, divine father, divine sacred child of who I am. I know I'm ready to create in great ways. And I'm opening the vessel of all that I am. I'm creating ceremony for who I am. I'm creating a beautiful field of light. The vortex of me is now activated. The vortex of me is turned on. I am co-creating with the Holy Mother, the Holy Father, the creators of all that is. For I want to be a part of 5D. I'm sending out love and vibrations of joy and happiness and knowingness that I am the leader and the loving leader of me. I send out loving vibrations of intention of love and peace and happiness and joy, that we create love and honoring of one another and respect for one another and allowance of one another, so that each and every one of us gets to experience the truth of sovereignty. And I'm putting out vibrations of sovereignty and joy and blessedness and dancing and joy for everyone, that everyone reach out. And I see humanity coming together in joy. I see humanity reaching out for their own healing, for their own sense of self. I see humanity being blessed in miraculous ways from the heavens. I see humanity and Gaia coming together as one. I see these beautiful visions of how I'm becoming a part of these beautiful vibrations of New Earth. And my vibration right now is assisting this New Earth vibration, because I'm absolutely happy that I can be a part of bringing forth vibrational stories and teachings and vibrations through the holy creators and through Gaia, through all that is energy, through all that is spirit. And I'm an open vessel for creating my new vortex of me, so that I'm standing in ever greater presence of my sense of self. I know that I'm a creative genius. I know that I have great wisdoms. I know I'm a great leader. I know that all of these energies are being placed into creation as my intention to be a part of this new earth. And I will call in the tribe, and I will call in the beautiful soulmate, and I will call in the abundance, and I will call in all that is meant for me. Through source wants me to experience all these beautiful things. My sense of self is in spirit. I trust spirit. I love spirit. I am spirit creating matter before me, so that I can see myself how masterful I am. And to remember that I'm worthy. I am worthy to be treated with love and joy and respect. I am worthy of creating my sovereign path that feels right for me. I am worthy of creating a path that feels joyful and blessed for me. And I can pay it forward and bless it forward through loving care and joy and benevolence and beautiful excitement, so that others can also feel into those vibrations of excitement and joy and peace and care. This is the vortex of me. And I'm co-creating a beautiful space that I get to walk on and feel, because everything that I choose to co-create and I send from my heart is going to be felt and touched, and all fields and all worlds will be changed. And I call in the greatest codes that I can learn from and activate a greater sense of self as I renew all that I am. And I become the new being that I've always meant to be and experience and explore. And I get to express it fully and sovereignly and freely, so that all children and future generations get to feel the beauty and the excitement and the ceremony of who they are. Fully celebrated, fully awake, fully aligned with all that is energy, all that is source, spirit in everything, all plants, all animals, all wildlife we are recreating. And our ceremony of who we are gets to be placed in this new beautiful etheric vibration. And all of the energies in the beautiful source field get to call from those energies and say, this is where I'm excited to co-create in spirit and the heavens and all that is. The omnipresence that is sourced from your pure intention, from your attention to being your sacred and your clear and your knowing sense of self. This is who I am today with spirit. Be called to you. That's miraculous, unconditional, trusting living. Open to it. Just allow. You don't have to force anything. Open and allow. Source will always provide. Source will always provide. Source will always provide. And how do we know this? How are we living as this? And being open to the celebration that is life. Open to the celebration that is love. Open to the celebration that is spirit. Spirit in all things. We're meant to be joyful. Every moment we're meant to joyfully explore who we are. Every moment. And that can be also just being in peace. I'm exploring peace right now. How does peace feel to me? I get to choose peace. And then you get to detach and detangle from what is not peace. That's how you get to become a master and really start navigating with clarity. That's your sense of self. This doesn't feel good. I'm getting there. This is what I'm kind of feeling into. I have no idea what it's going to look like. I'm going to surrender unconditional trust. And this is how I really want to co-create. That feels exciting and pure and true and honoring of me. So this is the vibrational journey that each and every one of us are on. You're all auspicious creators. You're all magicians. And allow yourself to really let go of dynamics that hold you in restriction or forcing outcomes, or being led down rivers that just feel like obligation patterns and restrictions that don't suit who you truly are in your sense of self. And really allow the ceremony of who you are to be that exciting vibration, and you get to co-create with it. You get to have fun with it. And then add to those vibrations, because you know that tomorrow you're going to be in those vibrations that you just created just now. So have fun. Have fun. Be in joy of who you are. Allow spirit and all that is love to live through you, and you get to create in the beautiful ways that's meant for you. And that's having ceremony for you. Yeah, I created this. I've been working so hard. I've been manifesting, and I've been transmuting, and I've been let so much go, and I'm loving who I am. I get to call in my new life, and I get to be a part of my new life. Yeah, absolutely. I created this, and I'm so proud of myself. Look how far I've come. Look what I've done. We're meant to be in joy and love for who we are. Okay? You'll always be taken care of. Your spirit, your sense of self. Who are you? Why are you here? What do you exist within? What truly is going on inside of you that wants to come forward and co-create a source? You're loved, you're perfect, you're beautiful. Know this, be this, live this. You are the vibration of perfection, always. Always, 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 always. We love you. You are sacred. Bye.